I don't understand the value in tokenizing an asset. What does that do? Let's just be clear about something. The utility of the Bitcoin blockchain is a distributed database, a distributed ledger of who owes what to whom, of who has what money.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Jack Mallers shares his insights on the latest Bitcoin dip, uncovering reasons behind the price movement and discussing exciting potential strategies for investors. Tune in to learn more from him.
The implementation of the Bitcoin blockchain is running the best money ever. I've never seen a blockchain be useful for any other use case. What would putting a banana on a blockchain do for me? Or a stock? Why would a stock on a blockchain be any better than a stock on a MySQL database? Seriously, what's the answer to that question? I literally don't know. It's all salesman garbage. And here's another thing. Would you be interested in putting a asset on a blockchain if you couldn't buy a token associated with it? The only point of perpetuating all these ideas is to sell a token. It's like, hey, I'm changing the world by putting assets on a blockchain instead of MySQL databases. Oh, really? How do I get involved? Buy my token. It's like, no, wait. Let's remove the token. Let's remove the fact that you are selling money you're creating out of thin air to people. What is the functional value of putting it on a blockchain? Because these blockchains aren't decentralized, they aren't distributed, just like databases. So let's stop pretending this idea that, Amazon is really centralized and Solana isn't. Fuck off. That is absolutely not true. And everyone knows it at this point, by the way. So what's the value? Why is a blockchain on some shitcoin better than the databases that the biggest companies and governments in the world use to store information? Seriously. And I don't care who you are, someone in the chat or Larry Fink. I've yet to hear a cogent answer to that question. The best use for a blockchain is to operate perfect money. That is Bitcoin. Blockchains are inefficient, slow, and expensive. They're awful databases, but they're worth the pros versus the cons if you're looking to build something like Bitcoin. Like, we need a distributed ledger to self-audited by anyone in the world to see who owes what to whom. Fact. Bitcoin has achieved that. It's very slow, it's expensive, it's inefficient, but it does that job. Why I would want to put a stock or a house or a banana on a blockchain, zero value, makes absolutely zero sense. And again, the only reason people value this and people are trying to convince you it's valuable is because they want you to buy their token. You remove the token out of it, no story. No one gives a shit.
Shares of Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, have fallen 16% this year, mirroring a broader downturn in Bitcoin's price. On February 25, BTC slipped around 4% to $88,000, triggering renewed scrutiny of Strategy's massive cryptocurrency holdings. Analysts note that the company's future hinges on its ability to keep raising capital. Still, Benchmark remains confident, raising Strategy's price target to $650. This optimism reflects the belief that Strategy can maintain a robust pace of Bitcoin acquisitions, backed by a combination of stock offerings and convertible debt. Since 2020, Strategy has invested over $33 billion in Bitcoin at an average cost near $66,000 per coin, resulting in substantial unrealized profits. Most of its debt does not mature until 2027 or later, alleviating short-term pressure to sell its holdings. For a forced liquidation to occur, Bitcoin would need to collapse by more than 50% and remain at those levels through 2027, according to the Kobayashi letter. The stock is down nearly 50% from its November peak of $473, but many analysts point to Bitcoin yield as a key metric for Strategy's valuation. This measure highlights the ratio of BTC holdings per share, and the company aims for a 15% Bitcoin yield by 2025. Analysts observe.
Apple is spending $500 million on an AI server factory in Texas. Do you think they'll learn to mine Bitcoin when AI prompts are slow? Yes. Well, I think everyone will understand that Bitcoin is a persistent bid for energy globally. Okay? So it is the best way to monetize energy. So if you have any excess energy, if you have cheap energy, Bitcoin is a buyer of it. What do I mean by that? You can take any abundant energy, excess energy, efficient energy resources, and you can turn it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin will purchase that energy and give you Bitcoin in return. So instead of thinking like you're mining Bitcoin, think Bitcoin is mining energy. Reverse it, right? So if there's energy out there in the world, Bitcoin will find it. Does that make sense? It's really cool if you think about it that way. Think of Bitcoin as this like automated distributed network that's looking around the world for cheap, abundant energy to protect itself and persist itself. It's like Bitcoin's alive. I sound like Sailor. But so if Apple is spending a ton of money on server factories and there are efficiencies to be made, I think they will make them, and Bitcoin will Bitcoin will fix so much of our global energy grid. It is not even funny, like straight up. So yes, my answer is absolutely 100%. Ken Griffin is an expert. He must have been aware of Bitcoin since 2012. Why now? Again, I think there's a lot of people that have been aware of Bitcoin since 2012 and still haven't bought it. I think Bitcoin is an ego test. It's an ego test. You get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. As soon as you're willing to admit, I'm not bigger than this thing, I'm not more important than this thing. You know, really, a lot of successful people in the world understand that success is correlated with control. You know, Ken Griffin lives in a world where the more control and dominance he has in a market, the more success he has. Mark Zuckerberg lives in a world where the more control he has over his users, over his advertisers, the more success he has. So I found it interesting that a lot of these guys, Bitcoin's off-putting to them because you don't get any control. You get the same rights, the same rules as everyone else. It's rules without any rulers. It doesn't matter who you know, how much money you have, how many servers you have, how many users you have. You don't get an advantage. And I think that's foreign to a lot of these guys. And I think that's a lot of the reason that we've seen them go into other shitcoins. Because if you get into Ethereum, if you get into Solana, if you launch meme coins, if you launch altcoins, ICOs, NFTs, you can get an advantage. You can get control. You can take advantage of other people. And I think that's much more their speed, their language, what they're used to. And I'm not even going to try and impose like ethical and moral behavior right now. You know, I'm hinting at what I believe in here. But just why do I think it may have taken Ken Griffin longer than others to join a network that gives him no superior advantage, no inherent control, no benefit to himself over others? Because I'm not sure that's how he's ever seeked out success over the last 30, 40 years. It's just not how his business has traditionally worked.
The global M2 money supply is drawing fresh attention from crypto enthusiasts, who see a rising trend as a potential catalyst for a significant Bitcoin rally. According to Pav Hundal, lead analyst at Australian exchange Swift, it's wise to stay cautious, but he believes market conditions favor a strong performance through March and beyond. While some worry about further volatility, Hundal points to an uptick in spot buying activity and a recent $4 trillion increase to the United States debt ceiling as reasons to remain optimistic. It's not all doom and gloom, he explains, referencing data that shows the year-on-year fixed exchange rate for the M2 money supply among four major central banks climbed to 3.65% in January. Many observers note that a growing global M2 money supply often correlates with increased liquidity, which can spark renewed interest in riskier assets, such as Bitcoin. Economist Lynn Alden found that Bitcoin's price moves align with global M2 trends 83% of the time, suggesting the current uptick could signal bullish days ahead. Analysts including Bitcoin Data 21 and Colin Talks Crypto point to this confluence of factors as a potential trigger for a parabolic run, though Pundle advises traders not to allocate everything on an immediate rebound. On February 25, Bitcoin briefly slipped below $90,000 for the first time since November after former President Trump announced his 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico would proceed as planned. Still, investment research accounts like Bravo Research emphasize that rapid expansion in the U.S. money supply, which has doubled in a decade, could propel Bitcoin to new heights once the market regains momentum. Some traders maintain that ongoing macroeconomic and geopolitical shifts could further amplify the effects of a growing M2 supply, fueling additional speculation in digital assets. All eyes remain closely on Bitcoin. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Seller. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.